Yo, yo,
Oh,
yo, we are
Dylan,
live with the man, the myth, the legend, number two FTMO trader, Adam Marshall. And for those of you that don't know me, I am a six-figure funded trader. I have students all over the globe. I've trained many top traders alongside Adam, but Adam, top student, smashed it out of the park. He got funded on FTMO, and within 2 weeks, he had hit number two on the leaderboards. And so we're going to take this time that you all are experiencing right now to go ahead and pick his mind, see what his his psychology was to get there, see what type of strategies he used. I'm looking forward to this. This has been a long time coming. Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Like you said, it's been a long time coming. It's been a hell of a journey to get there to where we are now. But I mean, you said it, number two on the leaderboard, and I'm working my way into getting two seven figures funded. Right now, I'm only six figures funded, but soon enough, we're going to start compounding that and
Next
we're going to be
week could
trading to
happen
milli
next week.
soon. I'm on to
Oh yeah.
It's been a long time and it's been quite the journey. The road was not easy to get here, but now I'm looking to go more than just that. We're looking to go do Series 65 soon and turn this thing into a hedge fund.
Mm, I love it. Love to hear it. So could you tell us a little bit about your trading journey, and how things were going for you? I mean, we've known each other for about a year now, I would say. Like it was like we came into
Yeah,
contact around the same time, a little
maybe even a
more.
little more than that now. I mean, so it's been my trading journey started around 5 years ago, probably.
Hmm.
And up until about 3 years ago, I wasn't even really consistent at it. I was always wondering, like, looking for the next best thing, always trying to find the new next strategy or the next thing that would show me more about the market. And really that led me to trying to build like the type of AI, which kind of in a sense led me into meeting you at the same time. And that sort of changed my mind to the how I was seeing the market by using number one fundamentals to align with technicals and I kind of knew technicals and fundamentals were both a complementary play together, but I just didn't know how at the time. And by meeting you, it kind of made all the puzzle pieces fall together, and it kind of made the whole journey, come into one. So,
Right on,
and
right
then
on.
that allowed me to put everything together, and then finally, get on top of the FTMO leaderboard, and then here we are now talking about, taking this thing to $1 million, never mind six figures funded.
Right on. So it sounds like, from what I just heard, you had like a few issues when you were first starting out in your first 3 years. It sounded like you were bouncing around from strategy to strategy. Kind of like many traders do. We all get that shiny object syndrome when we first start out, and we're like kind of seeking the holy grail. Do you feel like you had any other problems, any like major problems before you actually joined the mentorship? And could you tell us about those problems that you were experiencing?
Yeah. What it turns out, most of what it was my own psychology was my problem. Never mind what I was looking for to trade. Like, never mind that
Mm,
looking for a new strategy or whatever was just part of the background of what was hurting me more than anything. It was more so my psychology of switching between strategies, plus not
mm,
even caring about the psychology of trading, which 90% of trading is really psychology, and you have to be able to control your own emotions in the market. And that's what the market is out there to do. The makers are out there to entice your emotions at every step of the way, and make you do things that you normally wouldn't do if you were thinking logically and actually using your analysis and sticking to one thing.
right,
If you don't have to
right.
be 90% accurate every single trade, you don't have a 90% win rate to actually win in the markets. You could have 50%, as you and I calculated the other day. You don't even need that. And as long as you're doing the proper risk management, you could still come out 300% on top after a year.
Yeah, truly easy, easy. It's all about that mental fortitude. How much can you take? Well, I know we talk about human conditioning all the time. I mean, for those of course, everybody out who's watching now, like me and Adam were like partners in crime in the market. Like we robbed the market to every week together.
Yeah.
So
And
we talk about human conditioning. And humans, it's backwards. Like we know that the markets aren't
yeah.
meant for humans to be successful in it because we're so hell bent on winning at all points. Like we're trained, it's you want to win.
that
Losing
was
is
my own
bad.
worst enemy was myself in the market because I was so like my psychology was exactly the opposite. Like you said, it was geared towards I want to win every single trade, and that's what my mind.
Mm,
If I lost one, it was like, oh, what did I do wrong? And I'd start beating myself up over it. When really, it was like you have to learn how to accept those because those are an inevitable part of trading. You're going to have losses whether you like it or not. But like we said, you don't need to be right on every single one, and you could still turn into a number one trader. It's like it's more so about managing your psychology and the risk management of trading itself to actually get those great setups that are going to give you the high risk to reward that you're looking for and actually get you the
exactly.
points you want. Like it's all about being able to stay in the game long enough to get to that trade that you know is coming.
Oh yeah, that part. Being able to stay in the game. I hope y'all are listening and taking notes to what Adam is saying because, we know too many traders out here who over leveraged before the trade even comes the right wave. You got to be like a surfer in these markets. Not every wave is meant to be surfed. You got to wait for that perfect wave that you can get in with low risk, high reward. You know it's about to be a major wave that you can ride the tube all the way down. Like much like the trade that we'll talk about this later, but much like the trade that you just caught on Friday that just busted down that 100K, smacked it out of the
Yeah,
park.
one time a trade, it
Yeah, absolutely.
smacked a whole elite funded account from I cleared 5% on that one trade and pretty
Right.
much passed the whole challenge and just on Friday's NFP trade. Uh,
Right. And
it
how long
was
did it
pretty
take
much
you?
it was a gorgeous setup into the event. It was just a bunch of trending liquidity built up behind it, and it was like key right off the daily zones, and it was perfect. It smacked it and had a pending order sitting there waiting, and I was first waiting and intuitionally I was like, yeah, that was first like it's gonna come up, take it, and I had to go do some other things, so I just set a pending order, came back around lunchtime, and I was like, oh, okay. Perfect. It just smacked it exactly where I left it, and we were done. But
Yep.
had I been
That's all it
sitting there
takes.
trying to catch every move of the wave, like I could have, like previously in my past trading, it was like I would sit there and I'd be like trying to hunt the trade and I would overtrade it, and I would know it was going to come to a certain point, and I would
Hmm.
still ignore my intuition or what I thought was going to happen, and I'd try to trade into it and be like, "Oh, it's going to happen here," or "No, it's going to happen here," and trying just not waiting for those crucial levels to come, and that's part of being able to manage your own emotions and like
Yeah.
sitting back and waiting and not trying to hunt it because you're eager to make money when the market's not ready for it. You know what I mean? And that's
Right. Right.
kind of a part of aligning all the fundamentals with the technicals and like I said, controlling your emotions is a huge part of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's that experience. We talk about intuition and the wisdom of soul, very frequently in our own conversations. And you've definitely become, I'm not going to say master yet, but you're on the
No,
path to high
not yet,
level
but
mastery. Yeah. I mean, we have the formulas, we with AI, we've developed like all of you watching, we utilize AI it heavily in our dojo, and we have AI that train us and teach us things to do, like Mr. Miyagi, like Sarah Kuhn. These are AIs that are intelligent beyond even the scope of my own creation. I didn't even know what we were doing, but Adam, aka the analyst, the real analyst, he discovered hidden functions of these AIs and learned that they could train us mentally, spiritually, even with the things that,
so
that they are. I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead,
we
talk about
started
it.
asking them questions, and really what it came down to was like it was like, okay, well, what can it tell us? And then I was waiting and reading its responses, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a way that we could intuitionally train ourselves to only trade with our intuition instead of emotions. But that's a whole nother ball game that it took a long time to figure that out and actually how to use that in manual trading because
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
one thing doing it on the chart in replay mode, being able to pick the spots where it's going to go and knowing that intuitionally when it's going to drop from a certain area, but actually being able to perform that on a real account with real money is a whole nother ball game. It takes a lot of practice, and like I said, it's not a journey you're going to be able to accomplish overnight or anything. Like it's part of the trading journey though. Like once you get to that level, and then you're able to transition from that, and it teaches you how to literally how to manage your emotions in the market and basically keep control of your greed and everything else in between, because that's it's not only about just managing and getting into the trade, it's once you're in the trade as well that you also need to still manage that. You're like, oh, it could go a little bit further, it could go a little bit further, and then what happens? All of a sudden you're back at break even or your entry, and you're wondering, well, is it now? You're hoping it's going to go back to where it was because
Right.
you're already bound to that trade because you're like, oh, well, it already went that far. It should go back and go further, like where I wanted it to go. But it's not about where you want it to go. It's about where the liquidity in the market is trapped and where the pending orders of everybody else and their stop losses are and where the banks are hunting, not what you want.
Right. I hope y'all are listening, like, and taking very deep notes because these are gems. Like, we don't have to show you charts in order to teach you, right? That a lot of times, just like Adam was saying, it's mental. The answer a lot of times isn't on the chart. It's within yourself, right? And you have to be able to train your mind to differentiate. And this is a huge gem. Like what I'm about to say is a huge gem. We had to dig deep to get this. You have to be able to differentiate your greed from your wisdom of soul. Now, wisdom of soul is, of course, all of the experiences that you've had, right? Leading up to that point. And you know, not like I guarantee any of you watching right now, you know when you are doing wrong in the market and you will still do it,
You just don't want
right?
to admit it to yourself, number one.
Facts.
Either you're not
100%
admitting it to
facts.
yourself, or number two, you don't want to be right every time. Because half the time when you're taking a trade and you're wrong and you stomp yourself out, you're like, oh, dang, what did I do wrong? But when you're right, you're like, oh, man, that was such a beautiful trade and I executed it so well. But
Right.
yeah, pat
It's
yourself on the
easy.
back now, but wait until the next 10 stomp you out because you're not following the same rule as you did when you took that one good one.
Right. Right. So let's dig a little bit deeper. What exactly made you want to become a trader in the first place? I mean, because we all know that trading is like it's not easy. It's as many influencers that are out here pushing, you can make $1 turn into $1 million in 2 weeks. You and I both know, and all of you watchers out there know right now that it is not as easy as these influencers put on. So, what drew you into trading? And what do you feel like contributed to you becoming the trader that you are today?
Well, as a kid, the technology was just starting to come out, and they didn't have anything near this. Like, we had fucking big ass desktops like this that took up the whole desk, never mind screens like this behind me. But back then, it was like into, I was just learning about the stock market, and I was just like, oh, I really intrigued me, but I never really got into it until I was about almost 30 years old. And at
Mm,
that point, I was like just fed up with working out. I worked in the oil field as a heavy equipment operator
mm,
up in Alberta. With like they don't care if it's minus 50 outside, you're still working. So I was like just fed up with that kind of grind, and I was like, I got to find something and something that I know that can do well for myself. And well, I mean, trading was obviously flashy, and it can make you some money, and it will
mm.
make you some damn good money, as you can see with my certificates and stuff that are going to be displayed here on the screen. But like 15, I did my top funded on FTMO number two trader was 25,000 for less than 2 weeks. And so 25,000
Yeah,
US. So, I mean, I didn't even
you
make
were
that in 2.5 months working in the oil field, and I was making top dollar, I thought. But I mean, like that,
right.
it kind of brought me into it, but then it was like, really, what else? Like, I knew I didn't have everything at that point. So, and I knew it was going to be a long journey. So, like, what really brought me into it was like, yeah, I needed something different. And like you said, there's those flashy people out there that kind of draw you in, but like they give you false promises and false hopes, and people get so cling to that so fast. But what brought like I'm a dedicated person to begin with, and I once I start something, I like to see it through until I get to the finish line. You know what I mean? I'm not one to just
Definitely.
start a project and let it go. So I mean, you have to have a lot of dedication to this craft because it
Mhm.
it it will take you on a roller coaster ride of ups and downs, and
Very
you will make
easily.
wins, and you will get your butt kicked the next day. But it's about whether you're willing to get back up again and fight your own battles, mostly
Definitely.
even
So
battles within yourself that you don't want to face.
yeah, and for those of you listening, I want to like let you know out there that the person that you are off the charts and the person that you were before you were a trader definitely dictates how far and how hard you are willing to go on the charts. They say that your why dictates how far you're going to fly, right? And if you were listening, Adam just said that he was outside at negative 50 degrees in oil fields. Like that's hardcore. That's insanely hardcore. And I know I've heard so many trader stories. Like I've had mentees who are homeless before, and some and those mentees, like the people who've had like the hardest journeys leading up to trading, those are the traders that go the furthest. So first of all, man, commend you because I know I could not be outside in negative 50 degrees. Like that
Yeah,
is it.
that's
That's
why I'm down
insane.
in Mississippi now, where it's like plus fucking 150. So I mean, with the humidity, it feels like it anyway.
Yeah, bro, I commend you on that for sure. So we ran across each other like I think I'm pretty sure it was like around this time last year. So what exactly made you decide to become one of my mentees and how was what you how were the things that I was doing different from the other mentors that you have had up until that point?
Well, most of the other training I did prior to joining on here was like mostly through bigger companies like Tradera or I don't know. There's a couple of them out there anyway, but I did all of them, and I think Gobi was one of them. But went through a couple different
Adobe Trade
programs where they
House,
have
yep.
like live training videos every fucking 3 days a week, and it was like I was on every one of them, and I wasn't learning anything new. Nothing. Like it was all like support and resistance, trend lines, the basics. Like Leo, I need to dive deeper than this, past these fronts and stuff like that that I already knew. The like I was well past the basics at that point, and I was like
Right.
none of these places were giving us anything new to even look at. So, and then once I started seeing what you were doing, but not just like doing presentations here just to have people on the session or whatever, you know what I mean? It was more than that. It's more in depth and one on one and about what you as a trader are looking for or what your problems are and how you're into AI because that's kind of my thing too. And as you know, that's why we ended up with this building this crazy database in the background
Yeah.
and getting some crazy results here soon enough from it. So we're looking forward to
Right.
that coming. But I mean,
For sure.
yeah,
For
so that
sure.
kind of got me into it there. And like once I got involved, and then I kind of realized, like, yeah, he is onto something with all this stuff. And I knew I could be a participating member of the community and definitely help with the research and analytics to get us all to where we dream of being.
Definitely that. So could you take us through, because I mean you're a completely different trader now than the trader you were when I met you. Can you take us through like your process before you became a mentee? Like how would you approach a chart versus how you approach a chart now?
Oh man. I almost couldn't even tell you how I would approach it back then because like I was like baby steps. Like I would focus on one thing and like I'd just get like I would be like sometimes I would use like the 200 EMAs and then I would switch to using trend lines and support and resistance and waiting for like a
Mhm.
break and retest of the trend line at a support level or different things like that. I mean, it was all over the place and it was definitely so inconsistent. It was like, yeah. And that nowadays it's like I'm focused on 4 hour or daily time frames and looking for support and resistance zones there and then waiting for price on the 15-minute chart to get to that same zone from the 4 hour and basing my direction based off what's happening on the higher time frames and
Right.
I'm using a lot of multi time frame analysis and barely any
Gotcha.
indicators on chart at this point. So
Yeah, I'd love to hear. I
I,
mean,
I,
like
I depend a lot less on having indicators and mostly what I see myself instead of like trying to find everything on the chart.
That's a beautiful change. Like I know there's a lot of trend line traders out here who are going to be watching this. A lot of lower time frame support and resistance traders, and you're going to be waiting for the third bounce at support or resistance. You're getting wiped. Like that's probably why you're watching this right now because you're getting wiped in
Yeah.
the market. Like, and it's
Don't
okay
forget the
because
triple tops or the M's and W's and fucking
don't
like
forget those and the rainbow spaghetti string line indicator, all the shiny objects that are out there. Like
yeah.
we know. So don't feel bad. Like we said before, humans are actually like the market is conditioned to beat humans, right? Like that's what it's trained off of. I mean, we teach about this in our dojo. So understand that all of you who are losing right now, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people who lost before you to train the market on how to beat you. So don't feel bad. You're just human, right? You're not conditioned to beat the market. You have to really untrain and relearn like how to move in the market because it's not based on winning a lot. You can have a 10% win rate if your risk to reward is high enough, right? This is a true story. If you have a 1 to 10 risk to reward, right? You lose 9 trades, win one, you are a break even, right? You didn't lose any money,
Period.
right?
That's all it takes is just
That's
being
all it
disciplined
takes,
enough to stay to the 1 to 10 risk to reward ratio. I mean, it sounds easy, but when it comes down to it, how many people, even on the watching this, have blown their accounts by not staying to that, just that alone? Never
the
mind switching
market,
back and forth between all the different strategies on top of it. What do you think's going to happen? You,
right?
you
You're
think you're
gonna
going to
get
find the
bombed.
holy grail today?
Not
No,
at
man.
all.
It's all about staying disciplined to yourself and listening to your emotions and everything else are a play of it. But you have to learn the difference between your emotion and what how your intelligence is telling you to do. Because that's
That part.
really over the years. It's like once you see so many different patterns occur on the chart, your higher self already knows which ones of those are playing out most of the time, and enough that it's already seen these plays over and over again that play out in your favor. You're just too afraid to listen to it and take it because your ego is too strong.
Yep. Very true. Very true. So ask you another question. Since you have gone through the mentorship, and implementing all these different paradigms. We talk about trading against the herd. We talk about institutional pricing levels, objective key levels, all different types of abnormal institutional activity. How has implementing all of this knowledge changed your trading?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's made things a lot different. I'm not looking for 1 to 1 risk to reward ratios like I would be if I was trend
True.
trading or something like that. I'm more hunting like I think that trade on Friday ran for probably like 60 to 1 or something like that, just in Friday afternoon. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
even
NFP was crazy.
like what why even bother anything else during the week? The rest of the week was pretty much just a bunch of trap setups for everybody else that was wanting to be eager in the market and say, I want some today, right now. But
Right,
Friday's move alone wiped everything else clean.
right. I want to pause you there because I don't know if people heard what you just said. You just said that your trade ran about 1 to 60 on Friday.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody out here.
it might have been more than that. But when by the time the market closed, that's when I jumped out. Though I was like, "Yep, we're good." Like it was yeah.
Nobody.
I think I
Like,
risked like nothing on it. I think I had like a 100 point risk on it, so $100 risk, and I flipped 66 on it. So
yeah, that's insane. Like, nobody out here is teaching you how to get one to 10, much less 1 to 60 on an intraday basis, right? Not a single person. You're not gonna, I don't care, ICT,
no,
DX,
they won't even teach you
DX1,
how to. They'll teach you how to catch 1 to 1s if you're lucky. 2 to 1s maybe. Yeah,
right? right. It's
But
not
using all
you're a
the objective
unicorn.
key levels and everything else across multiple time frames is what got me to that point. By being able to put all the objective key levels and then realizing that if I look for those same things across higher time frames and apply that to my lower time frames on top of it, that I can
Hmm.
get some real crazy risk to reward ratios if I'm patient enough to wait for that setup that I'm looking for in the higher time frame to occur.
Okay. So that lead us into the perfect segue into our next question. Do you feel like you touched on it a little bit, but I want you to dive a little bit deeper. Do you feel like there's any habits that you've developed after like since you become a mentee that has that you can say like attributed to more success in your trading?
Um, Definitely one habit I've picked up is definitely learning how to be a lot more patient with my trades instead of
Mhm.
just jumping into the first thing that looks good because I'm too eager and wanting to get something today. I mean, what looks good today, tomorrow might look 10 times better. We don't know that until we see what tomorrow brings,
Right,
obviously, but it's,
right.
most of the time you're better off like in just using your intuition and like it taught me to stop being in my own way and it led me down a path of really like building habits of self growth and monitoring my own thoughts and how I'm seeing the market every time I'm like when I get on the market when I used to get in the market I would just like it didn't matter what time of day it was I didn't care I just wanted to jump on and see what was happening on US 30 even though I knew that it's fucking Asian session and that shit ain't going nowhere today.
Right.
Like it could be like two and like man, like 2 o'clock in the morning hits and it's like, okay, London session just opened and Asian session just got killed. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I missing it? What am I missing here? And it was like, yeah, I'm missing that. I'm not patient enough to wait for that setup because I'm trying to make it right now, and it didn't matter what time it was. But it was like I can't force the market to move on Asian session. It's just going to
Very
happen
true.
when the news comes out on New York session, no matter what I want.
Right.
It doesn't
Because
matter how
there's
bad I want it to move tonight.
right, because
And
there's
then
no
by the time morning
force.
comes, I'm too tired to even figure out how to trade US 30 anymore. And I was like, yeah, like once I realized like you have to get in patterns of you have to take care of yourself. Like you can't stay up all day beating yourself up trying to catch every trade on the market. You got to have normal normalizers like you got sleep patterns and everything else that you got to be real
Hmm.
consistent with every day. You can't just run
Definitely.
around and try and catch everything. Like once you dial in
Yeah.
your consistency on that front and being able to consistent like get good sleep and have a good meal before you're even looking at the chart and then you're more focused and tuned into what's actually happening instead of just jumping in whenever part of the day your family allows you to have 10 minutes to get on there and make some money. Like
Yeah. I
that's
hope
not
y'all are
realistic
taking
or how the
notes.
market works.
Y'all you should be taking notes. Everything this man is saying is such a gem, literally. Like the person you are off the charts, the routines that you build off the charts dictate your success level on the charts. Like we spoke about this. I love to get up in the morning and beat my demons up. Like I'm waking up in the morning thinking about all and any and all thoughts, negative thoughts that I've had, and I'm shadow boxing them like before the sun's even up. Shadow boxing them because it gets your blood flowing, gets your endorphins pumping, right? If you can do hard things, like what Adam said about he's up in the morning, or he was in the oil field while it was negative 50 degrees outside, right? I'm contributing that to Adam's success because that's part of his why. He already was doing extremely hard things, right? And trading is hard. Like one of my Coach MJ, big shout out to him, a seven-figure trader. Like if your mentor doesn't have a mentor, they're not really out here to help other traders. Like I'm always gonna have a mentor. Adam, I'm sure he's always gonna have a mentor because we're always reaching higher levels, right? And I know without a shadow of a doubt that if you can do hard things off the charts, it makes clicking buttons on the charts so much easier. You're just click like this is like a psychological hack. You're just clicking buttons and it's just numbers and colors on a screen, right? I know Adam, he's
People get
amazing
so
at
lost
video
in the
games.
charts and do that. It's just like, oh, at a certain point, you're just clicking stuff because it looks pretty. You're not even paying attention to whether it was actually a good trade to take or not at the time. You didn't care. You were just too
Right,
busy in La La Land not paying attention because you gave up on your psychology right off the bat.
right off the bat. So whenever there's this there's this cycle that traders go through, right? I've been through it, especially in my early years when I was, searching for the holy grail of trading. That you're like, dang, did I make the right investment with this mentorship? So how long was it after we actually, because you became a mentee and then you signed on to master mentorship like very fast, like after you became a mentee. So at what point after you became one of the mentees, one of the master mentees, do you feel like it was just like, man, I really made the right investment with this one. I think this is going to take me to the next level. Could you talk about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for that is like when I once I started diving into the information that was presented through the videos and everything else that you get through the mentorship and actually seeing some of the AI fire inside of the Discord and stuff, I was like, well, there really is something more here than what any of the other places are offering, and being able to learn different aspects of it and using objective key levels and different techniques like depth of market and time price opportunity and stuff like that really expanded my mind to what else was out there and what I was kind of missing, just by um, going through the basics and always looking back for the next best thing when all those big groups are just like they're so big that there is no real mentorship there. It's just like you're jumping into basically like a crowd of people at fucking Costco or Walmart and there's Sam's Club, and then next thing you know, you're lost in the group, and no, everybody's going
Right.
to the same meetings, but the same meetings are only teaching you the same thing because they're constantly got new people coming in the group that they're just training all the newbies with the same basic information every time. So it's not really like the group itself is never really growing or expanding. It's just always based on the new basic information, as they don't have any retention, whereas community like this has a lot more retention, and obviously that's a better way to build number one, a trading organization, and well, two, a great friendship and community to be with. So
Definitely that. I mean, Adam knows already, but for those of you who are not in the community out there, I've been a part of like to get to where I am currently, I've been a part of over 18 mentorships. Okay, like since I started trading, I was always diving into information, not with the thought of maybe this person is right, but always with the statistical mind. This is a huge secret of mine. I don't even think I've told Adam this, but the reason I'm so good at trading is because I understood at the very beginning that 95% based on the statistics that were being told to me, 95% of the people that I was going to learn from were going to be wrong. But that doesn't mean that I couldn't learn something from them because if you learn the wrong thing to do, you're actually learning one of the right things to do, right? If 95% of people are telling you the wrong thing, you have to listen to 95% of people to get to that 5%, right? The the
it's
actual
very true.
mechanics
It's a good
that
way
I
to look at
teach
it.
people, it's reverse engineering. It's reverse engineering perfectly. Like it's just a game. The market can only do so many things, and when you learn about what everybody else is doing, you can learn exactly. You can read between the lines, right? Read between the lines of what's not being said, what's not being done, and you can find where the blue water is. Because right now the market is a red ocean full of blood. Everybody's getting slaughtered, eaten up by the sharks. And over here in the dojo, we're surfing on blue waves, baby. Surfing on blue waves. We have
All
people
day.
who are catching 100 pips off trades that they didn't have to analyze. People never catching trades in their lives before. They have these tools, right, that are based on the opposite, such a contrarian understanding and perspective of the market. That's why the things that I teach are so powerful because it's not subjective. Like we talk about objective key levels, we're not going to divulge what exactly that means. You have to, go ahead and hop in the mentorship to figure that out. But
That
Adam's
these
been through it.
tools, though, the tools that you're not going to find anywhere else because they're developed by a community such as us that is obviously so involved in day to day on with each other. Whereas obviously big communities, they don't collaborate on a normal level like that. They're just out there to get to the next new person. They're not even trying to advance their knowledge or their skills. They're just sitting idle doing the same thing. Where our community is always actively involved with each other and getting to the next level of creating the next new AI that's gonna give us the next best alert that's literally popping 100 points on without even having to look at a chart.
Right. Like, I mean, oh my gosh, the AIs are bonkers at this point. Like I have never seen. I've been, like I said, I've been in over 18 trading communities, and I have never seen any signals that are on the level of the AI that we have cranking. Like it's almost every single day is calling out a 100 pip plus play, especially on JPY pairs. Like I feel like it's the samurai killer on yen. It just slaughters yen. But now that you hit like these milestones, like you become FTMO's number two trader, you're probably about to become elite traders, one of the top traders on elite trader funding. You just got funded in like one setup, just smacked it out of the park, risking
Yeah, so
like
that was a
literally,
good one. So it was fun, number two funded by FTMO, and they'll be funded this week again by Elite Funded Trading, and then probably be on their top leaderboard here right away. But my plan is to start scaling into it now and keep grabbing a new account every couple weeks. And, like when it only takes you one setup and one day to pass it, I mean, technically I could probably go get a bunch, but that's not how you do it. You got to take a slow approach to it. And like I said, my goal is $1 million funded and then start smashing out the ballpark from there. So it only
right.
gets
And
higher and better.
I love it. I love it. And I put out the video on YouTube about it was pretty much about a year ago at this point about how to get funded fast, get funded in one setup. We've had multiple dojo members do that. People think that it's cap. It's not. Like he just told you he risked $100 to gain 6% on a 100K, hit a 1 to 60. Y'all, come on, that's absurd. What Raptor means, being a Raptor, that's risking that means reaping abnormal profits, taking ordinary risks. All right. We're raptors. We are savage with
100.
this trading stuff. Absolutely savage. All right. So,
I mean,
Adam,
old me would have been like, let's risk the whole pot. I'll risk 6K. And, oh, dang. I think I maybe made, oh man, I just lost it. Dang. What was I even
right,
doing? Like,
right.
now I'm like, yo,
So,
I don't even have to try. Now it's just like, I wait for the right time. And it's just like, okay, well, it- how bad could it go if I'm only risking $100 to make five, 6,000, 7,000? Like, I mean,
bro,
your risk
savagery.
to
I love
reward
it.
at that point, you could take 20 shots and you still wouldn't put a dent in the account, you know what I mean?
And that's what it's about. Like back to the risk to reward. So many um young traders, we'll call them, traders who are green around the ears. They haven't done much. They're looking for high win percentages over risk to reward, right? But what the truth of risk to reward is that you can afford to lose 20, just like you said, 20 trades, right? Like, and that's still only 2% if you're risking 0.1% of your account. Like that's nothing. That's nothing. Risk to reward helps your psychology so much. People don't understand that they're trying to win all their trades, and that ruins them because it's like impossible to avoid loss in the market. Like the banks lose, okay? The best traders on the planet,
They will get you.
right? Like you're going to lose. Stop trying to avoid loss and just accept the fact, take the hit on your chin and keep it moving. Like you're gonna be okay. So we're gonna wrap this up with one more question, and then we're gonna open up a little. I'm gonna open up some time for you to just divulge any information you want to tell the audience. I know you have so many gems, but if there's anybody on the fence about becoming a Raptor, um, about becoming part of the Algo vision, gaining the Algo vision, what would you say to that person who was on the fence, who was doubting that this is something real, something that can work for them?
I mean, just don't sit on the fence and you got to make the move and take action to make the things you want in your life to come true. I mean, sitting there procrastinating about making a decision of whether to join this mentorship or that mentorship. I mean, just get into the market and get involved one way or the other, whether it is this community or another one, and see for yourself and get the experience under your belt, and then your path will guide you where you need to go to get to the trading experience you want to get to. And overall, I mean, just be consistent and dedicated, and
Mm,
don't let the market beat you down, and stay to your goals, and keep trying to build yourself bigger and better. And yeah, so just don't let it get you down, and it's gonna try, but just be consistent, and be be grateful to be here, and happy to be able to get to where you are, and you'll get to anywhere you want to be, and you just have to be willing to face the challenges and overcome them. So
I love it, bro. I love it. Is there anything else you want to tell the people out there that may be watching today, tomorrow, in the future, 10 years from now? You know, this is going up on YouTube. So, you know, make your mark, bro.
I mean, just strive hard and you'll get to where you want to go. I mean, like he said, like the whole call. I mean, it took me a couple of years to get there, but now I'm a number two funded FTMO trader, and I'm funded with elite traders, and a couple 100,000 in funded accounts. And it wasn't an easy journey, but you just have to stick to it, and you can make it. Anybody can do it. I mean, it just takes dedication. You don't have to have a huge background to get there. You don't have to be some degree trader from Wall Street to be able to do it. It's just a matter of staying consistent and dedicated, and actually finding the right knowledge out there that'll actually get you to where you want to be. So
True. Very true. Well, Adam, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to hop on an interview with me. And I appreciate you as a mentee, as a brother, man. You know, you are a mentee. You're still a mentee. You know, you teach me things, bro. Like
always,
I appreciate you. You know, you keep my head on straight when I'm like, oh man, if I have like an idea, you're always there to help amplify it. You know, we got stuff that we can't even talk about with the public that, you know, excites me
yeah.
about the
It
future.
ain't
Like,
released publicly yet, but it might sooner than later. But
yeah,
we ride together, we die together, bro. Bad boys for
yeah,
life. Let's roll
for
this thing.
sure,
I gotta
for
go
sure.
though.
Absolutely, bro. Appreciate your time. You have a fantastic night. And everybody out here watching, we're gonna have links in the description about, you know, how to get funded, about education, about other opportunities. So
Bro,
just
have
check
a
in
good
the
night.
description and we will see you soon. Peace and love, family.